guys, what's up and welcome to my next video. And today we're going to be looking at my team of the week for this week. The first match this weekend was West Ham, Man United. West Ham won 3-1. Man United really didn't play very well again. Two main standout performers, certainly considering they both scored, I think. Yeah, they did both score and both played sublimely well for parts of the game. And the first one of the two is Felipe Anderson, who got the ball rolling for West Ham. Constantly looked a threat, although he did neglect his defensive responsibilities, so maybe he'll get caught out at some point this season, but you know, he hasn't yet, so that's been good. The other is Marko Arnautovic, who held the ball up really well for West Ham when they got it up the pitch. He stopped the Man United defender playing out from the back and just looked pretty solid, really. The next game was Arsenal-Watford. It took Arsenal a long time to get going, but once they did get going, they scored 2 in a few minutes. The stand-up performer I picked from this game was, unsurprisingly, Lacazette. He thought he'd scored one when it just deflected in off the defender, I think. Like, he was very near to getting a touch, and then he got an assist. I think it was Ozil's goal in the end. But he did play really well towards the end. Once he got going, Arsenal got going. It wasn't a surprise, really. The next game was Everton-Fulham. Everton won 3-0. Again, it took a long time for the first goal to come, but then once it did, Everton just started banging them in. The two stand-up performers from this game were Jordan Pickford, who kept a clean sheet. He made some good saves to keep Everton in it. Second half he wasn't that busy, but first half it was more even. But the main player, even though he did miss the penalty, but then he still scored twice, I think. I think he scored twice. It might even have been 3 times. But it's Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's the kind of player who he has one good game and then a few bad games in a row. So when he was at Tottenham, I just was never that sure about him. He had one good game and then he didn't do anything for a few weeks, and you thought, oh, well, he hasn't been that great, has he? And then he turned up again. Next game involved the best team in the Prem. Huddersfield versus Tottenham. Tottenham won 2-0. Harry Kane got 2 goals. That's why I put him in this team. He was pretty quality against Huddersfield. He looked back to his best. And that was a big positive to take out of the game. Even though Dembele and Vertonghen all got ruled out until the international break with injuries they picked up in that game. So, you know, every sunny moment has a cloud. Next game of Brighton, Man City. Man City won 2-0. Man City could have got a lot more, really. The person I picked as a standout performer from this game was Leroy Sané, because I think he scored one and simply did really well for the whole game for Man City. Because he looked bright, and he created a lot, really. He did look like a very impressive player, and the player that won the Young Player of the Year last year, deservedly. He finally looked back to that kind of player. But the next game was, I think it was Leicester-Newcastle, I think. Yes, it was Leicester-Newcastle. Leicester won 2-0. Leicester, teams they scored, they didn't really get tested. I put Harry Maguire in this team because he won the penalty for the first goal, and then he scored the second goal, and he has had a really impressive start this season. Going forwards, Defensively, Leicester don't look as solid as they have done before. But, you know, they've got some quality play going forward. Maddison, Vardy, Iheanacho, Gray sometimes. The next game was potentially game of the weekend. And it was Chelsea-Liverpool. It was quite an entertaining game, end-to-end stuff, most of it. The two players I picked from this game were David Luiz, who I just felt he handled Firmino really well, and sometimes he started off attacks really impressively. And he just had a great game, really. The next player was Eden Hazard. He scored, he looked a threat for most of the game. Well, certainly when Liverpool started to press. It then meant that there was space in behind for him, and he tried to make use of them. He probably should have scored when he went one-on-one with Alisson, but Alisson kept him in the game. The next game of the weekend was Burnley-Cardiff. It finished 2-1 Burnley. There was no one really that impressive in this game. It was always going to be a bit of a not so much a Super Sunday, but more of a dull Sunday afternoon match, if you get what I mean. But the final game of the weekend was one of the quite impressive games of the weekend, and it was Bournemouth Crystal Palace. It had some real bright moments. Bournemouth 1-2-1. The player I picked out of this game was a player who scored for Bournemouth and looked really bright from the off until he got taken off. And it's David Brooks, who had a really good game, and Palace really couldn't handle him. But next we're going to be looking at my predictions for this week, which are here. First game of the weekend is Brighton, West Ham, Friday night football. We haven't had Friday night football in a long time, so that'll be quite interesting. But I think West Ham will come out on top, like 3 or 4-1. I can see that West Ham scoring goals against Brighton, because I think Brighton will have to come out and try and play. He said not quite getting the results, and they've had to play a few big teams, so they'll have to come out and try and win it. The player I picked from this game, because he had such a good game last week, and everyone wants to see if he can keep it up or if he was just a one-game wonder. And it's Felipe Anderson. I'm hoping he keeps it up, because he is a joy to watch when he's on top form like he was at the weekend. The next game of the weekend is Burnley versus Huddersfield. I think Burnley will nick it either 2-1 or 1-0. I can't see Huddersfield winning at Burnley. I didn't pick anyone from this game because I just don't think it will be a very good game. The next game is Palace Wolves. Palace haven't been at their best at home this year. They've been better away from home. But Wolves have been good both at home and away, so I can see it being 2-2. The player I picked from this game was Will Zaha, because he hasn't really lived up to the hype since he gave that interview about him needing more protection. So I'm wondering if that maybe made other fans hate him and him go off his game. It will be interesting to see, really. Next game of the weekend is probably the best of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, really, with two decent teams in it. And it's Leicester-Everton. Two teams who really need to kickstart their seasons again. Leicester started a bit poorly, but then have got back on the road again. Everton did well last week, but still need to get to that level that they were last year. Who players I would pick from this game were Gilson Gertson. He had a good game last week, and I really want to see if he can keep performing like that. Or if again, like Anderson, he was just going to do it for like one game and then not perform for the rest of the season. The other player I picked from this game is Leicester's probably most exciting player at the moment, and it's James Maddison. And it's made even more exciting because of the fact he's English. He'll be celebrating his new England call-up, which got announced this afternoon. And it will just be really interesting to see how he does. Next game is Tottenham-Cardiff. I can't see Tottenham putting out a big team in this game. 1, it's at home. 2, they'll be tired after the Barcelona defeat. And 3, some players just need to rest. But one player who I hope they do put out, because he's been performing magnificently well this year, surprisingly, and it's Eric Lamela, whose performances have surprised everyone this year, really, including his probably most loyal fans. Even his fan base probably didn't think this would happen so soon, but he really has forced his way back in. Now being talked about, he should regain his starting spot ahead of Lucas Moura, which like a month ago wouldn't have been possible for him. He's come on leaps and bounds. But I reckon we'll win like 3-1 in that game. I can see us beating them. Next game, Watford-Bournemouth. I can't see this being a great game. I think Bournemouth will win it 1-0 or it'll finish 0-0. One of the two. But the player I picked out from this game was David Brooks, because he'd started well this Premier League season but not scored, and then he scored on Monday night, so I just want to see if he can keep that up and force his way to a bigger club. No disrespect for him. Late kickoff is one a lot of people will be watching out for. And it's Newcastle Man United. Man United been in the news a lot recently because of the Mourinho thing. Personally, I really hope he goes, but I can't see them doing any better here. I think Newcastle beat them 2-1, and then Mourinho will be sacked straight after. But talking of the Mourinho issue, the player I picked from this game was Paul Pogba, because he really didn't play well against West Ham, and he hasn't hit the heights all season really, apart from in that Champions League game against Young Boys. So he really does need to impress. Otherwise they might start considering, should it be him that goes instead of Mourinho. Currently everyone thinks it should be Mourinho, but should it be him? But I still think it should be Mourinho. Next game is Fulham-Arsenal. I think Arsenal win this like 4-0. I can't see Fulham giving them too many problems, but it does pain me to predict a big Arsenal win, even though Lacazette's in my dream team, so it would suit pretty nicely. But talking of Lacazette, I put him in here because he's been the best player of the campaign from Arsenal's point of view this year really. And he's been the one person who's really stood out to everyone in the last few weeks. I think he got like 2-2 or like 3-3 or whatever. He didn't start the season as their main man, but now he's gone to be their main man again. The next game is Southampton-Chelsea. I think Chelsea will win it 3-2. And I honestly think Hazard will rip Southampton to shreds in this game. That's why I put him in this team, because Giroud normally plays well against Southampton, and it tends to be when Giroud plays well, Hazard also plays well. But the final game of the weekend, and the biggest game of the weekend, undoubtedly, is Man City-Liverpool. I think it'll be 2-1 Liverpool, because Liverpool really do need to start showing up in big games. The player I picked from Liverpool point of view for this game is the obvious one, Mo Salah, because he just hasn't hit the heights this year. He really hasn't for some reason. Whether he's tired, whether he needs a break, I don't know, but for some reason he hasn't hit the heights. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs. One player who has hit the heights for me in my mind this year, and he's been one of Man City's best players really, is Bernardo Silva, because when De Bruyne got injured, everyone wondered who would create for them now. And it's been Bernardo Silva really. Him and Gundogan have been really good for Man City this year, and they've really shown quite a bit of class. But he, I think, is the main one. But anyway guys, that's going to be the end of this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.